Welcome to Sharp or Square, presented by Hard Rock Bet. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. This is the betting show that makes the squares sharper and makes the wise guys pay attention. I am Chad Millman. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, my companion, my compadre, my BFF professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, what a day.
Dude, ups, downs, all around. We got major superstar injuries to report. Just about every game we didn't put in was a way that we should have gone. We're going to get to it. Our final five: Kansas City -4.5, Buffalo -1.5, Rams -5.5, Packers -2.5. We got Minnesota +5.5 tonight. Last one's out: Washington and New Orleans. Simon, in the early windows, the favorites, all the big favorites, the huge favorites, covered really easily, except for two: the Chiefs and the Giants, who were playing the Commanders. Wouldn't you know it? The Chiefs were the reason we didn't want to change any of our picks this morning. They were the pivot point for the entire roster today. Unfortunately, we could have had the Commanders in there. We could have had the Saints in there. Instead, we're sitting here 2-2. Crazy, crazy day.
Yeah, great games, but we can't help ourselves. We are the 2-2 team, so yeah, we need the Vikings once again for another 3-2 week. So
I mean, look, I'm not loving the chances that we had a choice of three teams that we wanted to put in, and the two we left out won outright, and now we're like the odds of that happening, or at least the third team covering, not feeling great going into that Vikings Cowboys game tonight. It was also such a weird day because in the first half it seemed like the Chiefs were the absolute right side, and it seemed like the Bills were getting killed, and then it seemed like the Rams were the absolute wrong side and the Packers were dominating, and in the second half everything flipped. We're now 2-2. Let's start with that Chiefs Chargers game. So right before we came on air, the news broke that he has a torn ACL, which is just a bummer. You never like to see the most dynamic, most interesting guy who's been sort of the most prominent player in the NFL for so many years go down with an injury. Obviously, we're not going to know the timetable. When will he return? Those things usually take at least a year. So that's a total bummer. To be thinking about how we're going to manage that for the next 3 weeks.
ding dong, the witch is dead. Off with his head.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Come on!
It's over, Chiefs fans. Oh my God, I was gonna do shame on them, but I got it for someone else. But this is suck. We lost money. Yeah, terrible read. Whatever. There was 13-3. We were feeling pretty good, and this is a choke artist of a Chiefs team. They just completely fell apart. Chargers outplayed them, especially in that second half, and just giving up that touchdown before the half. I think there was 42 seconds left. It's just so unspags.
33 seconds left.
Yeah, just I mean, I hate the Chiefs, so it's hard not to just want to dance on their graves. And yeah, it's over. It's over. You guys haven't drafted well either. Holy shit, it might be dark days ahead for this Chiefs franchise. I love it. So yeah, crazy. Like we've been talking about every week, the pros, and we joined them this week. The pros have just been hitting this Chiefs team every week, steaming that number up every week, and they are broke officially. So I mean, we got to run through just the schedule, how it turned. I mean, the Washington, they won 28-7. Then they lose to Buffalo, lose to Denver, beat the Colts, lose to Dallas, lose to Houston, now lose to the Chargers, and they are out of the playoffs. Mahomes done for the season. Just total train wreck of a season. And yeah, it's football, right? Where every year it can totally flip and change. And they've had this incredible run where every year they went to the AFC Championship game. They were spoiled rotten. And now it just becomes crashing and burning. So horrible day for them as fans. You know, as a better horrible read by us, we got Herbert. I mean, he played so well. Tons of credit to him and that Chargers team. They, like we said, they were down 13-3. no panic, got that touchdown before half, got a field goal when they started the second half with the ball, and just outplayed the Chiefs. Like we said, the Chiefs got that 13 points and score another point the rest of the game. So gotta give a ton of respect to this Chargers team that, a lot of people like us left them for dead. And the number, like you said, opened 3.5, got bet all the way up to 6.5 by kickoff. Pretty insane, the outcome of this game.
Look, Herbert was not looking good in those first, say, 29 minutes and 27 seconds. They're down 13-3. He had been getting pressured like crazy. He had thrown a pick because he was blitzed and pressured and getting hit nonstop. And the Chargers were not doing anything at all on offense. They had a great run back on the kickoff. Herbert threw a perfect over-the-shoulder Eli Manning to Mario Manningham catch in the Super Bowl pass to one of his receivers who made an amazing diving catch. And then he threw this pass into the back of the end zone to end the first half and get them that touchdown. After that, very next series, start the second half, they go all the way down the field. The Chiefs all of a sudden couldn't tackle, couldn't beat their offensive line off the snap. Chris Jones had a terrible play where he got called for a offside, lining up in the neutral zone on a third down or fourth down call. So they lost it. Like, they deconstructed, they imploded is the word I'm looking for. They couldn't tackle anymore. And then all of a sudden, all the offensive line issues that we thought were going to be an issue for the Chargers became the Chiefs. And then that's what happened with Patrick Mahomes. In the second half alone, while the Chargers were scoring that field goal and then another field goal to go ahead at 16-13, the Chiefs went punt, interception, including an interception by Mahomes when they were in the red zone on the 1 yard line of the Chargers. So that was indicative of the whole season for the Chiefs. So even if they won today, it wasn't looking good. And now it just looks bleak.
Yeah. No, there's not much to add to that other than just what you just said. It's a day your defense gives up only 16 points. You expect more from Mahomes, who had 13 midway through the second quarter. And they completely laid down and did not show up in that second half. So,
but that was also that was also, look, they had multiple drives in the Chargers side of the field and in the red zone where they got field goals instead of touchdowns. So you can't do that and consistently win. And that's what happened. By the way, Packers, same thing. We're going to talk about them in a minute. Same thing happened to them early in the game, and it came back to bite them. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet, Simon, because first, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills, who were 1.5-point favorites on the road at the New England Patriots. After we were done with the show this morning, we're signing off. We're wishing each other good luck for all of our teams, the Bears against the Browns and the Eagles against the Raiders. And of course, everybody's rooting for the Bills. And Matt Mitchell comes on as we're saying goodbye. Matt Mitchell, if you're there, tell everybody sort of the mantra you told yourself in case the Bills lost today.
I let you guys know that I was telling myself I was not going to let a regular season Buffalo Bills game ruin my entire lovely Sunday with my family, because I was kind of coaching myself into a positive outcome. The Bills win, or I'll just say, hey, you know what? It's just a football game. And luckily, I did let it dictate the rest of my game or the rest of my day, because I had an absolutely electric Sunday afternoon full of awarding my children prizes and treats and anything their hearts desired. I had an absolutely great day.
I loved you had a very specific time. You're like, if the Bills lose, it's going to be 3:20 in the afternoon. Yep. I've got a whole day. Yep. I can't let it ruin it. And then you sent the most adorable picture of your daughter who, what you promised her something. Tell everyone what that scenario was, because it's adorable.
It felt like -15 outside in Milwaukee, so we were stuck inside all day. And the Bills go down 21-0. Dad's in a pretty sour, grinchy mood. And I said, kids, if the Bills come back and win this game, I'll get you. You can do anything you want. Just let me know. Bills come back and win. I asked my daughter what she wanted. My 5-year-old said, she really sat down and really thought about it. She goes, I want to eat a cookie in a bubble bath. I was like, hell yeah, girl. She got the biggest, deepest, bubbliest bath and ate the biggest, chocolatiest cookie like an aging Midwestern divorcee. And I'm really proud of her. She had a great afternoon too.
Let's hear it from Maxine Mitchell.
Last thing that I'll get out of here. Friend of the show, 19th century Russian novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky reminds us that we can only fully experience the thrill of being alive through suffering. And I feel like that game was a great encapsulation of that. It was only through the suffering that the victory became truly joyful. So anyway, have a great holiday season, everybody. Go Bills.
Author of The Gambler.
That's right.
We are the most literate sports betting podcast in America. You know what's interesting, Simon? In the beginning of this game, there was a play early in the game. Keyshawn Boutte caught a pass over the shoulder. It looked like it could have been called incomplete. They didn't do a quick review. The Bills didn't challenge. The Patriots got up on the ball, snapped it. They eventually scored a touchdown on that drive. The very next series, there's a clear juggling act going on. It goes against the Bills, and it's an immediate review from the officials who overturn it. And like that to me set the tone for the entire first half because it was ugly, truly ugly. Drake Maye was bacon.
Yeah, and I was cursing Sean McDermott's name. I was just like, this guy is literally what Matt Mitchell says. He's a corpse on the sideline sometimes. How do you not throw a flag on that? That's such a momentum shifting play.
It's
even
astonishing.
in the moment, I thought the ball hit the ground, let alone I didn't think he had full control on it. So very bizarre. And I'm with you. Not that I was panicking, but it was just like, okay, this is the complete opposite of the way I thought this game was going to start, in the sense that Drake Maye was up 14-0, and Josh Allen, I think at that point, had 2 or 3 straight 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
So we were a little bit in hell, but they got down 21-0. They showed Josh Allen the sideline. I go, this is the exact moment we're all always supposed to bet Josh Allen live. This is just the moments you get where you can take a position on him, and he's getting the ball in the second half. If you can just get a touchdown, maybe a field goal, we're not totally dead in this game. And Drake Maye, like the Patriots fans have been saying nonstop, crazy how good the kid is. Like his throws, how composed he was to start that game. He was totally in rhythm. But you saw in the second half, the Bills, their playing style, they just never let him on the field. And when they play that way and he can never get in rhythm, he's now been sitting because of halftime for like an hour and a half, never really could get anything going. You saw that. They looked like totally dysfunctional in the second half. I think their biggest plays were running plays in that second half, which is what kept them in the game.
Yeah, Travion Henderson had that 65-yard touchdown. As soon as the Bills went ahead, he came back and got that touchdown.
So yeah, we're in a unique spot. We're down 21-7 at half, and basically,
I think we were down 24-7 at half.
No, they got that field goal though the second half. I know what you're talking about, but but we just had an insane run where Josh Allen basically got 2 touchdowns and 2 touchdowns again. So 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, 2 in the fourth, and him and Cook, we've talked about that running game. I think the announcer talked about they had that drive where they didn't pass the entire drive. They basically just ran it the whole way down. I think Josh had a little throw at the end zone to one of the tight ends, and it's just why we bet them. We really, the logic made sense. I got why people, that was our rock and hard place bet it, because like we made sense why people were all over this Patriots team. We get it. This Bills team does have major weaknesses, but the Josh Allen factor, it's just like, are you really going to go against Josh Allen this spot? Like, is this really going to be Drake Maye's moment? And it was looking that way for that first half, where it's like, okay, MVP, all of it. This kid's living up to the moment, all the hype, and we got lucky. Just that playing style of the Bills, they wear you out, and that's what they did in this game. So, yeah, for the Patriots, still wouldn't be that worried if I was a fan. It's like you can lie to yourself and maybe think to yourself, okay, we've given our best shot to our best opponent. We can still, Destiny still control our own division, still can get the 1 seed if that's a possibility if Denver doesn't win out. So, I don't know. Patriots fans, there's a lot to be looking forward to, but the Bills fans, man, what a win. That's an all-timer. Come back and win with Josh Allen.
Yeah, the discrepancies first half to second half. When I started to feel okay, they flashed a graphic on the screen. in the first half that said Patriots have outscored their opponents by 75 points in the first half, most in the NFL. Bills have outscored their opponents by 95 points in the second half, most in the NFL. I'm like, oh yeah, we got a shot. We got a shot. And then the Bills scored on 5 straight possessions. It wasn't like they just kept stopping the Patriots in the second half and kept scoring touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It was really impressive. In the second half, they outgained the Patriots by, I think, 150 yards. And in the first half, they were outgained by 150 yards.
Yeah, -2 passing yards in the first quarter.
Yeah.
It was disaster.
It was stunning.
Yeah.
Listen, we love Josh Allen. We're so happy for him. We're thrilled for him and his bride. They're expecting.
His kryptonite's gone too. He doesn't have to worry about the big bad wolf, the Chiefs. It's like if you're the Bills, who cares if you're the 7th seed or the 6th seed? It doesn't matter. You have Josh Allen. So
right.
This has to be the year. Come on.
They did get some calls. Like all the stuff that went against them in the first half. Like there was a 3rd and 2 inside the Pats territory. They were down 24-21. Josh Allen flings it deep, and Shakir and the Pats DB try to catch it. It seems like the Pats DB intercepts it, but they call it a catch and they call a PI. And then Allen scored a touchdown. It gets called back later in the drive. The very next play, it's like 3rd and goal from the 15 because of the penalty, and he fires just a bullet to Dawson Knox. Amazing.
The refs are on our side. I think they had a fourth too that they didn't get, and the refs gave him a first on. So
yeah, it was
definitely got
pass interference called against Keon Coleman.
We say it every game though. The refs make huge calls that dictate some of these games.
It's getting kind of ridiculous. And you know what? Every single one of those
Don't
plays,
rant. We ran too much with the refs about it.
Yeah, but I will just say this. Every single one of those plays, I thought to myself, if they did an instant review, this wouldn't be an issue. That like so many of those calls would have been overturned and it wouldn't have been an issue. Just do the instant review for everything. Just do it. You got the tech. Just do it. Detroit at the Los Angeles Rams. We got the Rams 5.5. I got to tell you, Matthew Stafford throws a pick directly to Aiden Hutchinson, who runs it back inside the 20. The very next play, Lions score a touchdown. After that, I still wasn't worried because we've seen this so many times, over the years, like one bad play. And then all of a sudden, the Rams went on a freaking roll and the Lions could not stop them. And then in the final 5 minutes of the first half, the Rams couldn't stop the Lions anymore. And all of a sudden, they're up by 10. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But things did settle down for us.
Yeah, it's I thought it was gonna be a battle. Did not see Goff having that first half, which is just like Drake Maye. Like both these guys came out absolutely firing, and then just kind of didn't adjust to the second half like the other teams did. So it kind of mirrored a little bit with the Buffalo Bills, the Rams. Whatever adjustments they made, they totally neutralized this Detroit offense in the second half. Like we talked about it. Goff had 3 touchdowns. I think he had over 200 yards passing in that first half. He was just killing them, and I thought we were dead, to be honest, Jeff.
And Amon-Ra, I actually never worried about it because it seemed like the Lions could not stop the Rams. And we even saw like there were just a couple times in the first half where Stafford was just a little bit off. And we've seen Stafford just like miss by inches. And he got them down the field, got them to kick the field goal, got them down the field to start the next, got them to kick the field goal. And then it was a quick succession of plays where they stopped the Lions, they scored a touchdown, they stopped the Lions, they scored a touchdown. And then all of a sudden I felt really good about where we were. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown went off in the first half, could not cover the guy, had like 160 yards receiving on 11 catches. But then Puka was unguardable in the second half. Ended up the game with a career high 181 catches on 9 yards. He was averaging 20 yards a catch. This Rams team is impressive when they're at full throttle because their running game was great too.
Yeah, and you saw even their defense, as bad as they were in the first half, they're so much healthier than Detroit, and it really showed in that second half where guys they were subbing in and taking out really wasn't that much of a drop off. For Detroit, it was noticeable, right? They're trying to switch guys in and out, especially on the defensive front. They were just getting no pressure on Stafford, and the difference in this game, which I talked about before, was just going to be what the Rams were going to be able to do against the run, right? If they could stop the run, and the flip side, if the Rams could run the ball, I feel like either team, whatever could control the game, the clock, and the defensive fronts, that's who's going to win this game, and that's what ended up happening. This, rare opportunity with Gibbs, 13 carries, 38 yards. You just don't really see that with Gibbs. He usually dominates these type of matchups. And on the flip side, it was crazy how good this Rams team was. They ran for 159, and they kind of dominated rushing the ball. So, Stafford throws for over 350. You rush for 150. Feels like we should have won by more, honestly, Chad. So we'll take it. This was Chad knows I kind of played my hand a little bit. He learned to read me. This was going to be one of my bigger bets this week, and not gonna lie, stressing about it all week because it's never fun taking these type of big spreads, which against a very capable offense. That's just why. Again, I didn't think we were dead, but it was just like, my God, this was my worst nightmare start for Goff. He was just cruise control, lighting up the zone defense. They were trying to run the Rams, but like I said, the second half adjustments just so impressive. Every year, whatever McVay does, offensively, defensively, the adjustments they make, it's just incredible. And they outplayed him in the second half. So yeah, this Rams team, this was a day it felt like the haves and have-nots really showed up.
Yes.
And you saw like the teams that are legit playoff teams, Super Bowl contenders, teams that needed to win show up big. A lot of them did today. So, this Rams team, thank God we backed them because it was getting a little hairy there to start.
The two teams combined for north of 500 yards in the first half. It was the most yardage in the first half total by any team, by two combined teams this year. In the second half, the Rams ended up with 519 total yards. The Lions only had 396. So that shows you how much more aggressive and how much more the Rams were able to move the ball in the second half. Like they just widened the gap again and again and again. Really, really impressive win for them overall against a team that did not want to give in. Another team that had Super Bowl aspirations that honestly felt like they should have crushed in this game. But we got Bo Nix, buddy. Green Bay -2.5 at Denver. Green Bay forces a fumble on the first drive, kicks a field goal. Second drive starts inside the 5-yard line, ends in a field goal. That, to me, was sort of the difference in the game. Like, you need to be scoring touchdowns against a team that is going to be as aggressive and continues to go for it all the time as the Broncos. And if Bo Nix is on one, 4 freaking touchdowns, you're in big trouble. And he was on one today, which we did not expect. We actually, not only did we not expect it, we expected the worst Bo Nix, which is why we were betting on the Packers.
Yeah, and he looked like the veteran. He totally outplayed Jordan Love. And
he did.
You nailed it. Green Bay settling for 4 field goals, it just killed us. They're supposed to be the number one team in the red zone offensively. And they kind of went up against a defense as one of the number one defenses in the red zone stopping teams. So, they gave it all the stats. Green Bay also the best third down team. Denver, one of the best defensive third down teams. So, Denver gave up a lot of points, 26, but they never broke. They bent, but they never broke. So a game where, Jordan Love is playing pretty well overall, but it really was a Josh Jacobs game. Like, he had an incredible run, incredible catch for a touchdown. He was just really dominating. They kind of took him away, put the game on to Jordan Love. Watson gets knocked out, and it's just they couldn't recover offensively. They just were not moving the ball passing, and he threw 2 picks. One wasn't really of his fault. The other one really was. And, anytime we bet against Bo Nix and he throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, you mean we can no longer say the Packers are a good defense. So, I mean, it was bad. And, we talked about the line. We got the 2.5. I think we're going to be dead anyway, Chad. There was a weird number there where it's like, this is probably going to land on 1.5 for this Green Bay team if they are even going to cover. But they threw that pick, another turnover, and they went down. Bo Nix scored again, and it was just, I think they lost by 8. So bad bet. And it's tough to get a read in this Packers team. Now they are without potentially Watson. They might have lost Micah Parsons for the rest of the year, and it's just
ESPN headline right now. Sources: Pack believes Micah Parsons has a torn ACL.
So again, you don't want to say the Super Bowl window is closed, but you're already a suspect defense, and you've just lost an All-Pro, first ballot All-Pro. So I don't know, Green Bay. It's tough to see. If I still think they can get wild card, but it feels like now Lions and Bears might be in the position now to win this division. So really brutal loss for this Green Bay team. Not just, obviously losing this game, but losing Parsons to that type of injury just can't get much worse.
The top 3 headlines on ESPN.com right now. Mahomes tears ACL. Parsons believed to have torn ACL. Devontae Adams exits with hamstring injury. And then Joe Burrow explaining that his comments this week were not directed towards Cincinnati. So a lot of bad news for the biggest and brightest names and the teams that everybody counts on year after year after year to be the marquee matchups. Changing of the guard happening. Broncos running away with the AFC West. Even though Drake Maye didn't win today, he definitely was competitive in that game, and the Patriots were competitive in that game. Probably a learning experience for the young team. Like the Bears avoided the trap against the Browns, and now they get the Packers at home next week. We're going to talk about that in a second. Exciting day for a lot of the upstarts. We're 2-2 on the day. We got the Minnesota Vikings coming up tonight. God help us, because the other 2 teams we loved covered and won. So the odds are not looking good for us right now. Let's take a listen to a word from our friends at Hard Rock Bet. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. You want to know where I bet on sports during the holiday season? It's Hard Rock Bet. Not just because it's the presenting sponsor of our show, but because they make it easy to bet on my favorite teams, players, and leagues in just a few simple taps. Especially with their brand new For You page that recommends picks based on my favorite picks and who I like to bet on. I open the app, go to my For You page, find a bet I like, and then bam, my bet is placed just in time for me to get back to wrapping presents and enjoying my favorite holiday movie. Sign up today and bet $5 on any game. If it wins, you also score $150 in bonus bets. A winning bet plus an extra $150 to bet with. Now that's spreading holiday cheer. Plus, Hard Rock Bet fills your stockings with new promos daily. So whenever you're listening, just open the app and check out what you've got any day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit today. All right, brother. The games we left out. Carolina at New Orleans. Late game. Saints win it in the last second with a long field goal after a crazy dramatic. They got like 12 seconds left. Tyler Shuck runs a quarterback draw to get them into field goal range and draws a roughing the personal foul because he's hit while he's on the ground. So now they're in field goal range. He leaves the game. They win the game because Tyler Shuck had led them down the field with a game-tying touchdown with like a minute 50 left. I thought at that point, Simon, I thought it was Bryce Young time. They flashed a graphic on the screen. Since 2023, Bryce Young has 11 game-winning drives in fourth quarter and OT, most in the NFL. I'm like, at least I got the 3. I did not expect the Saints to win that game.
And that was your first mistake because they were a favorite. Bryce Young is a favorite. I feel like we have to just – until it's broken, until he wins like 3 in a row, I feel like you just have to keep blindly betting it, which I don't want to say I just blindly bet this one. It really was just about the number in this matchup. And I felt like it's a true test for this Panthers team where the pressure, how can you not feel it, right? You watch, they're all together. There's no doubt in my mind they were all together. They're a close team. They watched that Tampa game. They had 3 days to think about it leading to this game. And they came out and played pretty well. Like offensively, they moved the ball pretty well. Saints looked pretty lost. They just never put them away. They could never be consistent offensively. And
they were up 10 in the fourth.
Yeah. 10 in the fourth. You're right. And, the Saints, this Shuck thing, I talked a little bit about it coming into it where it's like there's an avenue for it. He just shows up big in these moments and, 24 of 32, 272 yards, a touchdown passing. He led the team in rushing, 8 carries for 32 yards. It's crazy how good this kid is. Like if he was the number 2 or number 3 pick, we'd all be going crazy right now because this kid's totally flipped this team around here down at the end. So really, really impressive win by the Saints. I honestly, not that I didn't think we're going to cover the 2.5, but like you said, it's when they didn't go for the 2 and Bryson got the ball back, it's like, okay, Bryce will probably drive the field here and get the 3, but Saints defense really showed up in that second half. And, this is always tough for these divisional games. And, Bryce Young gets that 7 in the third quarter and doesn't score another point the rest of the game, while, Shuck scores 13 in that third and fourth quarter. So really impressive comeback win by the Saints.
Don't look now, but the New Orleans Saints are 4.5-point home favorites next week against the New York Jets.
Well, again, I'll update it. I'll see what his odds are, but I think he might be down to 50-1 to be offensive rookie of the year. So people throw a penny on that 200-1. It's a fun bet.
Look, good for Kellen Moore. I continue by the way, good for Kellen Moore, good for Dave Canales. Both of them, good young coaches, good play callers. They're building a culture of winning with teams that in the most recent past have been losers and kind of directionless. And they've got these teams moving in a direction that sort of buoys them and gives them spirit and gives them hope for the next year. It's exciting to see. And look, the Panthers are still in it. The Panthers play the Bucs next week. They're hosting the Bucs next week. So, and they are, by the way, just getting people primed here. Carolina is a 1.5-point home dog against the Tampa Bay Bucs. Well, you know what we're going to do there.
Yeah.
I don't even think we have to question it. The other game, Washington plus 2.5, the New York Giants. Shame on us. Like, we talked about it. We started talking about it early in the week, whether it was Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota. We got more excited about it when it was Mariota. We talked about it this morning and stupidly decided we didn't want to open up our picks because we didn't want to lose the number on the Chiefs. Dumb.
Yeah. Again, it's tough. Like, I liked them all week. I liked our favorites we had in today, but I did give you the option. I said, if there's a game you want to switch out, we can do it. I really didn't have a game where I was like, no, we have to switch out this team. But like we always say, it's the hindsight. We knew there was one of those favorites we should have taken out. And, for me, I like to think it would have been the Chiefs. I probably would have been Green Bay. But if the Green Bay was -1.5, it would have been tough to switch them out at that point. So, yeah, bad miss. The Washington really dominated that game. And Giants almost got a gift at the end of it. There was a horrible fumble, and the Giants almost were in the position. But, Dart, he looked like such a rookie in that game. Washington was begging opportunities for him to come back and win that game, and he just couldn't steal it. So he was, I think he was plus 220 for offensive rookie year. I think that's going to drop way down as well. So again, him and McMillan, those were the two big favorites for offensive rookie of the year. I really can't wait. People can just tell I am very fired up about this kid and what the Saints team did today. So yeah, Commanders, Mariota, that stat, we got to keep it in the back of our mind, Chad. That shutout stat now, 5-0 this season. It's crazy. It's on a crazy run.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. All right, a couple questions.
In my head, I said it, but I didn't say it. If the team gets shut out the week before, they are now 5-0 this season, covering the spread the following week.
Joe Connolly, watching the show right now, wants to know, I know your answer. Are the 49ers the team to beat in the NFC? I don't know how we can say that right now with the Rams playing the way they're playing. The Rams just beat the Lions. The Rams have been showing up big. The Niners have been doing it for 3 weeks now with Brock Purdy, but they're still so limited on defense. They have so many injuries. They have so many guys who aren't their top line guys. To me, the Rams just have a better roster of their top line talent right now.
I love that Joe's fired up, but yeah, the reason we like the 49ers coming to the season is their schedule's a joke. So it's the same as the Patriots. It's like they're going to be a high seed. Going back to the games, they lost, that really bad game to the Rams when it was Mac Jones, or maybe that was Brock, but it was 42-26. Since then they beat Arizona, they beat Carolina, they beat Cleveland, now they beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
The remaining games are the Colts. Then they get a pretty tough Bears team, and then the Seahawks. So, we'll know more about them in the next 4 weeks. You lose your number one pass rusher, and then you lose Fred Warner. Saleh is, if they gave DC's Coach of the Year awards, he'd win it for me. Like what he's done, him or Flores, what they've put those two guys have done with scraps has been really impressive. But 49ers so much more. Their defense every week just plays so hard.
Well, look, what we said in the offseason about the most important additions in all of football, the names that we kept dropping were Robert Saleh and Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Because we thought Robert Saleh was going to have such a huge impact on that Niners defense, and we're seeing it with a lot of guys who don't have a lot of experience. Simon, I wonder if we'll be the same on Hero of the Week, but give me your shame on you.
Shame on you. Pretty easy. Got to shame on you to all these Patriots fans. Oh my God, were they loud and cocky? If you would have heard or gone on social media chat for that first half, not that it feels like all the worst people are Patriots fans. I feel bad for the Patriots fans. Your loudest fans are the worst people on the internet, and they're the loudest ones. And they took the most insane victory lap because they say they're veteran and they've been there, they've done that. Amateur hour taking a victory lap in a divisional game against Josh Allen when we were up 21-0. So, my God, that felt so good until the witch got killed in that Chiefs game. Other than that, this Patriots loss. Just their fans, they're so loud. They think they know football because they had Tom Brady. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. It's like, you guys don't know football. You just had one of the greatest dynasties ever. It's, they're a little ahead of their time. They want Drake Maye to be that guy. He looks the part, but taking that victory lap just was such a bad look for your guys' fan base. But I know it's not all of you, right? I'm an Eagles fan. I know 1/3 of my fan base are full-on idiots. They wanted to bench an all-pro Super Bowl MVP quarterback after a couple of bad weeks. So I get it, Patriots fans, but man, the loud ones, rarely do I wait to see the end of a game to go back and check people's comments and just hate read. And yeah, I threw on Boston local radio when I drove back from Atlantic City. It was a fun hour drive back to my place listening to these fans up in New England talking about their team and that Bills loss. So I love it.
By the way, speaking of Tom Brady, great line today on a Matthew Stafford throw that was a complete and total dart. He called it a one ball, and then he goes, that was just a piss missile. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds like a great line that they used to talk about in the locker room. It was fantastic. Listen, how do you not shame the Chiefs up and down, the organization? The fact that they really, for all it's worth, they kind of never did figure out their offensive line issues. They never did figure out their receiver issues. They never did figure out their running back issues. They knew they had these issues coming out of the Super Bowl blowout last year. And I think they just believed, well, we got Patrick Mahomes and he's going to make his magic. And you can't do that again and again and again if you don't have the personnel around you. They were waiting for Rashee Rice. They thought Xavier Worthy would develop into that guy. Hollywood Brown hasn't been that guy. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt aren't those guys. Travis Kelce is a year older. Their defense did not come up big when they needed that defense to come up big again and again and again and again. The roster needed to be fixed, and they kind of didn't fix it. And as you pointed out, they didn't draft well. So we can go on and on about the deficiencies on the field, the misplays, the bad calls. But at the end of the day, they kind of didn't have the talent to do what they needed to do. And we saw that in the Super Bowl last year, and they just didn't develop enough to put it in place to be able to execute this year. So shame on the Chiefs personnel team for not building a roster that could make Patrick Mahomes continue to be the hero that he had always been. And now he's got a torn ACL.
It's over. Your season's over. It's not even January and your season's over, Kansas City fans. Oh my God. So good.
I know who my hero of the week is. I wonder if it's the same one as yours.
I mean, I probably gave it away a little bit, but it's gotta be my boy Shuck. I mean,
oh God, no. I mean, yeah, sure. He could be, but
he is. He did exactly what I needed him to do as someone that bet his rookie future and just bet into this New Orleans game. And people know, if you listen to the show, Simon Says has been deader than dead. Just people dancing on the grave of Simon Says. Was thinking about a name change. That's how dead that bet was. needed the
Simon,
Saints.
don't say.
Yeah, exactly. Needed the Saints badly today, and the plus 2.5. We didn't really force it in because it's like we knew it was going to come down to the 3. It felt like either side. It was just going to be a 3-point game, and we needed to man up. We didn't man up, but my hero Shuck, just an absolute game. Like I already gave it out, 272 yards and a touchdown, and led the team in rushing. Just I can't wait to see if they reopen him for offensive rookie of the year because they're not opening it yet, and I cannot wait to see what the cash out offers these books offer me because just laying him at 200-1, not realizing the path for him, it's there. And yeah, this is just if you're a Saints fan, how do you not be excited? I think he broke Archie Manning's passing record because it's like 1,200 yards or something insanely low like that. So pretty cool what Chuck's done for this Saints team in this small amount of time.
Dude, Phillip Rivers came off the bench where he's been sitting for 5 years and had his team in the lead with like late in the fourth quarter against one of the best defenses in the NFL and a team that is potentially going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And the dude had a touchdown pass. He had 120 yards passing. He had 18 completions. He completed nearly 70% of his passes, 67% of his passes. Like, come on. Phillip Rivers, on a day where the Titans didn't cover a huge number, a double-digit number. The Jets didn't cover a double-digit number. The Las Vegas Raiders didn't cover a double-digit number. There was one more that I can't remember in the early game that did not cover a double-digit number. Phillip Rivers not just covered a double-digit number, he almost pulled off the upset. 5 years since he last played. He last played during COVID. That's how long it's been since he played. He became a grandfather since he last played. The dude almost pulled off an upset. He definitely got the back. Definitely got the cover. Good for Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, we've joked that we had to, before we ended our show earlier, that you had to kind of put a little bit on the Colts money line. And I honestly can't believe it was a live bet just because as much praise you're giving Phillip Rivers, it was, again, maybe he is better than whatever was out there, but my God, he did look every bit of 45 years old.
Oh my God. He was like pushing. Phillip Rivers always had a weird delivery, right? It always looked like he was pushing the ball a little bit, but when he would push the ball, it would still go 60 yards. He was pushing the ball today and it was wobbly and looked like it was going to go 6 feet.
And the best part was, as an overweight guy, there's something called a fat pick where you always pick out your hoodie or like a tight shirt at your belly. He fat picked the entire game. Just could not. Like my buddy turned to me. He was like, "Is he wearing like a flak jacket?" I was like, "No, that's just his pads." Like this is you're seeing poor 45-year-old, but yeah, I'll eat it with. We didn't talk much about it. Rivers. I didn't know there was people out there. Like I love Rivers. Who doesn't love Rivers? He's a gunslinger. In my mind, this man does not sniff Hall of Fame. And apparently people think he does. Like a lot of people out there reach out to me after our show. They're like, "You're hating on Rivers. He's a Hall of Famer." And it's just like, guys, playoffs have to mean something. I'm all for regular season stats, but a man that went 5-7 in the playoffs and never went to one AFC championship, never won an AFC championship game, and had a Hall of Fame running back in LT and a Hall of Fame tight end in Antonio Gates. I mean, what do we there has to be a line somewhere. So Phillip Rivers, really impressive what he did today. And if I'm a Colts fan, you are dead, but you're not totally dead. Like you can see with him as your quarterback, you can hang in games. I think he'll get better as the games go along. We'll see if he's healthy after this game because he did take some huge hits. And like we said, he hasn't been hit or anything like that in 5 years. It's going to be interesting how his body handles getting back into football.
Well, you could already see him on the sideline. He was getting treatment. They were taking him through stretching exercises.
Right. Yeah.
But at one point I saw him on the sideline and I couldn't see the person behind him that was sort of propping him up and manipulating his body. But he had his hand up and I kept thinking like a player was coming over to give him a high five. And it wasn't that. It was just a dude behind him who was like moving his shoulder around. And that happened to be how his hand was lifted. So, playoffs mean something. I agree. Josh Allen, never been to the Super Bowl. MVP, broke all of Cam Newton's, records as a dual threat quarterback. No one says Cam Newton's going to the Hall of Fame. And he was a revolutionary player for 10 years, won an MVP, and took his team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I put a poll out, and he was the 4th lowest voted. So he was voted behind Matt Ryan, behind Rivers, and behind Russell Wilson. So the fans of our show, they do not think highly at all of Cam Newton. So
interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
All right. Simon says, like you said, New Orleans plus 2.5. Woohoo! Green Bay was Chad's choice. Not a good choice. Brass balls is Minnesota plus 5.5. Rocking a hard play was Buffalo minus 1.5. Sharp versus square. Chad had Buffalo. Simon had the Rams. Favorites parlay. Rams, yay. Green Bay, boo. Kansas City, ugh. Buffalo, yay. Pittsburgh tomorrow night. Underdog parlay. Cincinnati, ugh. Washington, woohoo. Minnesota, don't know. Las Vegas, don't, bummer. New Orleans, woohoo. All right. Early leans. We know we got to talk about Carolina as a 1.5 point dog against the Bucs at home. We don't like betting Carolina on the road as a favorite. We don't mind betting Carolina as a dog. And if you, honestly, which team off of a bad loss feels like it has more momentum, right? More momentum. Which team feels like it has more spirit? Which team feels like it's playing harder? Which team feels like it might be running away from its coach? Which team is fully invested in its coach? As I say all those things, it makes me think, oh my God, I got to bet the Bucs. But we want to bet the Niners or the Panthers.
Yeah, the Bucs fan base. I've been on their Reddit, all the Liam Cohen articles I can read. It's brutal when you let that man walk out the door, and Todd Bowles just looks totally aged out and lost as a head coach. I mean, their defense, Tampa, is atrocious. So I'm with you. I'm not going to rush to bet the 1.5 though, because I do think, Chad, we might be able to get 2s in there. Like that Panthers loss, that was a bad loss. That's going to be more fresh in people's mind than the Tampa loss, which Tampa, you can make an excuse that they are technically undervalued, right? They had a 14-point lead. They blew it. Like they had that game in so many ways against Atlanta, and so many things had to break right for Atlanta for them to lose it. So that's a really interesting one to watch, what the number is going to do for that one. For me, games that just jumped out right away. I know it's insane, Chad, but your Bears are 2.5 3-point dogs right now.
Well, that was the only other one on my radar, really. It's actually in some places it's 2. In some places,
it's the pros are hitting it. Then I saw some 3s, so yeah, I'd grab the early Bear 2.5. It just Green Bay has so many injuries, and even though the Bears have had injuries, I don't know. You guys, your run game is so dominant, and the Bears, again, in this matchup, I think they'll be able to run against this Green Bay team. So I'm really excited to see what the pros do with that one. I could see early money coming in on LaFleur's Green Bay team after a bad loss like that. So I'm excited to see what the market does with that.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, let's hit it again. Chargers plus 1.5 at Dallas. I gave you those stats. Herbert is a dog. I got to stop overthinking and just keep betting it. I mean, he's what, 12-2 now as a dog. He just always covers as a dog. It's crazy, Herbert. And everything I thought he would be in that game, he did struggle in some aspects, right? He only scored 16 points, but the hand was never truly an issue in my opinion. Like it was just what we've seen him time and time again. He gets moved off his spot where there's a heavy pass rush, but this indoors with all the elements controlled and him being 3 weeks now since surgery, I think this line flips, especially if the Vikings pull off an upset tonight. So I'm going to take the early Chargers as a dog line. And last one, can't believe I'm doing it, but Patriots +3, +2.5 right now at the Ravens. Something's just off with Lamar. If that felt like since he lost that game, not so much the Ravens.
Oh yeah. Every time I was watching that game, it felt like since he was moving the ball, and then they just couldn't score. Like something.
Joe just had a horrible day. So I'm gonna back Vrabel, New England as a dog here on the road, and I'm almost positive the public's gonna come in on this Ravens team. I think people are gonna be a little sour now on this Patriots team. I think they'll have a letdown here, but I like that number a lot.
All right. So what we're looking at right now, Carolina +1.5. We're holding off. Chargers +1.5 against Dallas. Bears +2.5 against Green Bay. New England +2.5, +3 against the Ravens. We won today with the Rams and with the Bills. We lost with the Packers and the Chiefs. We have the Vikings +5.5 tonight. This has been Sharper Square, presented by Hard Rock Bet, part of the Volume Podcast Network. We will be back with our next Sharper Square on Tuesday to go over the entire NFL slate. Watch or listen on YouTube at Sharper Square. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, download us from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby. We're going to be here all day. We're going to be here all day, baby. I like this kind of